Have you ever felt like you're not enough? Have you ever changed yourself just to make others happy, but still felt empty inside? This is the story of a talented woman who searched for worth in everyone's eyes, but forgot to see the value within herself. And when she finally stood alone, she learned the most powerful lesson of her life. Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful village surrounded by green fields and tall trees, lived a woman named Layla. Layla was a gifted painter, known throughout the village for her beautiful work. If someone criticized her colors, she changed them. If a neighbor said her style was too bold, she made it plain. If the merchant suggested different patterns, she started over. The villagers always said, "Layla is so humble. She listens to everyone." But no one knew that Layla herself felt worthless and lost inside. Every morning before painting, Layla asked people what they wanted to see. Then she spent hours listening to every opinion, every suggestion, every criticism. After that, she worked until sunset, painting, erasing, repainting, trying to be good enough. When she returned home, her locked drawer held her real paintings, bold colors, wild strokes, pieces that showed her true soul. She whispered softly, "Maybe one day I'll be brave enough." But that day never came. One evening, the village announced a festival. Layla worked for weeks, asking everyone what they wanted. She removed colors that felt too alive. She softened lines that felt too honest. She painted what would make everyone proud. On festival day, people walked by her painting. Some nodded, some said nothing. Then the critic stopped and said loudly, "It has no soul. This could be anyone's work." The crowd walked away. Layla stood frozen. That night, she stared at her painting. It was beautiful, but it wasn't hers. For 2 days, Layla sat alone. She couldn't paint. She opened her locked drawer and pulled out her hidden paintings. They were full of fire, emotion, truth. She whispered, "I changed everything about myself, and they still didn't see my worth." Tears rolled down her cheeks. On the third day, an old traveling artist came to her studio. He saw Layla surrounded by paintings, tired and pale. He picked up one of her hidden works and whispered, "This has life in it." He sat beside her and asked gently, "Child, why do you hide your true gift?" Layla said weakly, "Because no one thought it was good enough. So I thought I wasn't good enough." The old artist looked at her kindly and said, "My dear, you cannot find your worth in other people's mirrors. A diamond doesn't lose its value because someone doesn't recognize it. Your worth was never theirs to give. It was always yours to claim." Those words touched Layla's heart deeply. The next morning, Layla stood before her canvas with new eyes. She painted with colors that made her heart sing. She painted wild and free. She didn't ask anyone's opinion. She placed it in her window. Every evening, she sat in her garden, painting for pure joy. Something she'd forgotten existed. People began to whisper, "Layla has changed. She doesn't listen anymore." But Layla smiled and said, "I'm not being arrogant. I'm just finally being myself." Days turned into weeks. Layla's face looked brighter, her steps confident. When someone criticized, she said, "Thank you, but I'm at peace with my choice." At first, people didn't understand, but soon they saw the truth. Her work now had soul, fire, life. The village slowly changed. Others stopped hiding their bold ideas and started honoring their own voices. One evening, an art collector from the city saw Layla's work. He said, "This is extraordinary. Where did you find this courage?" Layla smiled and replied, "I stopped looking for my worth in your eyes and found it in my own heart." Even the critic returned and said quietly, "Now I see you." The village became more alive than ever before. As the sun set one evening, Layla sat by the quiet river. The orange light reflected on the water. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Now I understand. My worth was never hidden. I was. Claiming my worth isn't arrogance. It's the beginning of true freedom. Remember, you can't find your worth in other people's opinions. You can't feel complete if you're living someone else's version of you. You can't shine your light if you're too busy dimming it for others. Take time to remember who you are. Take time to honor your authentic self. Take time to claim your worth, because the world needs your truth, not your performance." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to remember their worth, and subscribe where every story helps you grow your English and your soul.